it's not required. Okay, the required textbook is this particular. The only thing that's required for this course is this particular textbook. And even that, if you don't want to buy your own textbook, we have probably 7, 8 copies of this textbook on reserve in the library, along with the solution manual, which gives you detailed answers for all of the questions in the back of each chapter there. And this textbook itself and has the answers to the, I believe it's the odd number of questions in each of at the end of each chapter. And the homework assignment that I gave you will be those odd number questions. So you will be able to actually work those problems out and check your answers, and making sure that your answer is correct. Now, if your answer is not correct, then what I need you to do is try to figure out where did you go wrong. And if you can't figure it out, that's what I'm here for. Okay, and we also have a lab course. Now, this is the lab manual, the in-house lab manual that we come up with. Now, I must inform you, though, we are going through a major revision of this lab manual. So sometimes the things that you see in here may not be may not actually be the things that we will be doing in the lab activity. There will make minor changes here and there, and I will coordinate with the other lab instructors there. We'll try to inform you in advance what changes we're making, and well, in advance. It's not like right on the a week in advance or 2 days in advance. It may be just right before we start the lab. So this is how we're going to do this activity today. So that kind of, and this is probably the most frustrating thing for many students who take this course previously from previous semesters there, is that many of the things in the lab menu does not match what we have in the laboratory there, and it's probably going to be even more frustrating in summer. We'll try to minimize that frustration by informing you how we're going to do the lab activity there. I understand sometimes when you prepare for the lab course there, you need to write a procedure, and to do that in any case, if we make changes there, whatever changes we make, all you need is to jot down the changes that we make there, and you can still turn in the procedure with your lab report. Okay, so this lab manual is something that you have to purchase from the bookstore. I think it's what, $10, 15, somewhere in that neighborhood there. Okay, now you do need the lab manual today. So after 10:15, I need you to go to the bookstore. Hopefully, I won't keep you here to 10:15. And when we wrap up, and you need to go to the bookstore and buy the lab manual, and then go to lab. We're going to be doing the first activity, lab activity, experiment number 1. Now, lab 1 deals with safety and deals with lab policy, deals with MSDS, material safety data sheets. So there's going to be activities involved in the lab today. So we need to use this lab manual today. So this is something that you need to get before you go to the lab. Okay. So and in addition to that, we also need you to have safety glasses or goggles. And when you work in the labs there, you have to, when you work with chemicals there, you have to wear safety glasses there. So that's something that you also need to bring with you. For today, we're not really working with a lot of chemicals there. You're not really handling the chemicals there. So if you don't have your goggles today, then that's okay. Now, Thursday, when you come in for the second lab activity, we do need you to have your safety glasses there or goggles. And you can purchase safety glasses or goggles from the bookstore if you want, or you can go to any hardware store, Home Depot, Lowe's, even Walmart. They have safety glasses there. And as long as they have enough area to cover, big enough lens to cover a major portion of your face, and then you should be okay. We will, when you're in the lab today, we will show you what kind of safety glasses are acceptable and what kind of safety glasses are not. And one thing you do want to make sure is that you get a safety glass or goggle with a clear lens. Sometimes when we do observations in the lab, color change is one of the observations. If you have tinted safety glasses there, then that may hinder your observation there. So make sure you get the clear lens. As long as it's a clear lens, most likely you'll be okay. But we do need you to have your own calculator, especially for this class there, for the lecture there. Okay. And when you come in here, when you take the exam, you need to use calculator. For calculations involved in there, most of the time you will need to use your calculator. And in the lab, we do provide you with a calculator. We actually have assigned stations for each person. Each person is assigned a balance, a lab calculator, a lab quest, which is the device that we use for many of the measurements there. So in the lab there, if you forget your calculator, you may be okay. We have calculators around and you can use. But if you come to class there when you're taking an exam, if you don't have your calculator, you're gonna have a problem there. Okay. We will not allow you to use cell phone because these days cell phones are no longer a phone per se. It just have too many functions in them, and I'm not interested in finding out what's in your cell phone. And let's just not get the cell phone out and keep it in your purse, in your backpack, and simply do not take the cell phone out. I will not allow you to use a calculator on the cell phone. If you don't have your calculator with you on an exam day, and I may be nice enough and run back to the lab and grab a calculator, but most of the time, if it starts at 8 o'clock, I may not have that kind of time to go back and get the calculator for you. So the best thing to do is to bring your calculator with you in your backpack all the time. Okay, and in terms of one of the things that you're probably concerned most is in terms of grading there, the grading policy is outlined in the syllabus. The total evaluation of this course is 1,000 points. You have 750 points from the lecture. That's the maximum points you can earn from the lecture, plus 250 from the lab. Okay. Now, if you get 900 or more points with a minimum of 150 points from lab, you get an A. Okay. If you get 800 to 900 points with a minimum of 150 points from the lab, you get a B. 700 to 799, including a minimum of 150 from the lab, that's a C. Now, in 2 occasions, you may end up with a letter grade of D. That is, when you have 700 or more points, but you don't have at least 150 points from the lab, the best grade you're going to end up with is a D. So there is a minimum requirement in terms of the lab points you have to accumulate. You have to have at least 60% of the 250 points there. That's 150 points there. Okay, so you can earn 750 points from the lecture, 100% on the lecture, and you earn 100 points from the lab. That gives you 850 points. And you may think 850 points is going to land you with a B. Unfortunately, no. The policy says if you have less than 150 points, you will end up with a D, even with 850 total points there. So that's something that you want to pay attention to. You don't want to skip too many labs there. As a matter of fact, my take is always every point counts. You don't want to skip anything, and try to earn every single point that you can. Okay. Now, if you get less than 700 points, no matter how many points you get from the lab there, and that's a D there. If you get less than 600 points, that's an F. So this is how you will be evaluated for this course in the next 5 weeks there. And one thing we do want to make sure that is that the policy on rounding, and I put that in the syllabus as well. The total points earned that is within half percentage point from the next higher letter